Welcome to the very first episode of the Swiftie and The Scholar, the podcast where we examine the lyrics, lore, and literary legacy of Taylor Swift. I am Angela McDow, the Swiftie.
And I am Dr. Jerry Coates, the Scholar.
Hi.
Hello, Angela.
It's so exciting to be here today.
Are
you excited?
Kind of fun. I'm excited to do this, yeah.
So I just want to talk a little bit about why we're here and what this podcast is before we get into the song we're going to do today.
Okay.
So I have always wanted to have a podcast, but never had a great idea. Always knew it would be Taylor adjacent, but never had...
Me too.
But never had, an idea that really... was exciting or was a different thing than anyone else was doing. And then one day, probably 6 or 8 weeks ago, while I was driving to work, this idea hit me, and it was a podcast with me and my Uncle Jerry.
That's me.
And I then spent the next 3 weeks putting together a PowerPoint to convince you to do this podcast. And it's where we just go song by song through Taylor's discography and discuss them through a literary lens. And the reason that I knew that had to be you as the co-host was because of who you are and what you've done and your expertise for your entire career and life.
Also because I'm your uncle. And
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
So... do you know anything about Taylor Swift?
I know that she is taller than I had anticipated, and that she dates a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. Uh-huh. And I have heard one of her songs where haters gotta hate, hate, hate. Uh-huh. Yeah, then that's about it.
And that's your favorite song in all of songs?
No. But, it's a good song.
It serves a purpose.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so what is your career and educational background? Let's get into that.
Okay, so I earned my bachelor's degree at the University of Texas, and my bachelor's degree is in classical civilizations with a focus on Roman life. So I'm perfect for Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I do read Latin and some Greek, and I got a master's degree in history and a master's degree in English literature. And my English is particularly focused on 16th, 17th, 18th century, 19th century. I wrote my master's thesis on Charles Dickens.
Okay.
Not on Dickens, he was dead, on paper. And... I worked on my PhD in English at TCU with a focus on 18th and 19th century literature. And then I earned a PhD, so I have to put on the hat. So I have a PhD in medieval studies. So again, perfect for Taylor Swift.
What was you have to do a thesis for your PhD, yes?
Yes.
What was that? What was the title of your thesis?
So in English, I was working on, I'm excited to do some folklore today. I was working on folklore, fairy tale origins of the British novel. And my history dissertation is in Mariology, the study of the Virgin Mary.
Oh, okay, yes, I do remember you talking about that.
Yeah, so
yes.
And it's really about pop culture images of hagiography of saints' lives and how that matriculates into culture and how it rebounds. I walked the Camino de Santiago and went to El Escorial, a great Augustinian monastery outside of Madrid, and... got to look at manuscripts of things like Las Cantigas de Santa Maria.
So
ordinary reading, I'm sure.
Yeah, we've all read that.
Yeah.
When you talk about the images of the Virgin Mary, did you talk about how people see her in toast and stuff?
Yes. Yeah. Actually,
for real?
Yeah. I would not in my dissertation, but. Yes, I am looking forward to working on a book that I'm calling The 2,000-Year Life of the Virgin. And so I look at the Virgin Mary from biblical sources, which are fairly scant, and there's been a lot of really good work done on that. But I look at how she changes and becomes the center, the Theotokos, the God-bearer, and how pop culture sustains her throughout history.
Okay.
I know, it's fascinating.
Yeah, that actually is.
I have to say I love it. I've tracked down, I've gone to all kinds of different Marian sites and looked at all kinds of shrines, and it's a lot of fun for me.
Oh, that's amazing. When are you going to write this book?
I have no idea. I'm working on a podcast right now.
Yeah, you're busy.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. I have none of those credentials, except that I have studied Taylor Swift that deeply. And that's the expertise that I bring to this podcast.
As few have, I'm sure.
So I have been a Swiftie since the very beginning, since her debut album, and her songwriting is the thing that, keeps me coming back, and I spend so much time thinking about it and talking about it, and that's why we're here.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's get into this song.
Okay, I'm excited to do that.
Today, we are talking about My Tears Ricochet, which is from Taylor's pandemic album, Folklore. This song came out in 2020. She wrote it herself, and the production is her, Jack Antonoff, who is a frequent collaborator, and also William Bowery, who is now, so when Folklore came out, there were a few songs written and or produced by William Bowery, who is not a real person. And
that's a shame for him.
Yeah.
It's a great loss to his family.
And and everyone was like, who's William Bowery? Why is this person that doesn't exist anywhere online and doesn't have any previous credits? And then they Swifties quickly figured out that it was a pen name for Taylor's boyfriend at the time, Joe Alwyn. Wow. And now he is credited as Joe Alwyn, not William Bowery. But that's just an interesting little tidbit. So more about this album. Taylor had, this is Taylor's 8th album. Lover came out in 2019. She had Loverfest planned for 2020, and that obviously didn't happen because of a small thing that happened throughout the world. Mm-hmm. And when everything got canceled, she says she just, she all of a sudden didn't know, if I can't perform for these people, who even am I, basically? And she just got to writing, and we ended up getting 2 albums in 2020, but the first one was Folklore, and this album is kind of completely different than anything she had done before. It's very pared down production-wise. She played a lot with folklore, so all of these songs aren't as confessionalist and diaristic as some of her previous ones where she plays with other characters. Mm-hmm. This song, however, is not that. This song, I think, is very personal. This is track 5 on Folklore, and track 5s are kind of a thing in Taylor Swift's world. Okay. So after her 3rd or 4th album, people realized that the 5th track on her albums always ended up kind of being the most personal and the most deeply, I think, held by her, and now she makes a point to always make track 5s the most personal song on the album, and that's what this one is.
Okay.
So with all of that information, what are your first impressions of My Tears Ricochet?
Well, so let me return to my methodology.
Yes. Please talk about your methodology.
I print out a copy rather than trying to work on my computer and putting tabs. I do print out a copy, and then I mark all over it. Any literary devices that I see, I read through the whole thing once, just as I would any poem. just to get a feeling or an impression. So she's very sad.
Yes. Oh, one thing before we keep going, you have not heard this song.
I have not heard this song.
I only gave you the lyrics.
That's
so
correct.
You have not heard it. You're only reading it and dissecting it as if it was a poem.
That's right. I read the song. I received the song 2 days ago. I've been reading it and taking a look at it, thinking about it. I don't use any internet sources, so I don't want to know or need to know what other people have had to say about it. If I repeat some of the things that is commonly known, forgive me, because I'm kind of doing this in the blind and by myself, just as a kind of fun scholarly exercise.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess my first impression was I did wonder, since the album was titled Folklore, I was looking for folklore elements, and I guess one of the first things that I thought of that immediately hit me was the White Lady folklore. So there is a series of stories called The Woman in White, a kind of a femme fatale who wanders. So frequently she's characterized as a ghost, or sometimes as a vampire, in a lot of different manifestations. And one of the sources that I always use as a folklorist is Stith Thompson. Thompson is an American folklorist who writes about the morphology of a folktale.
Oh.
Of course, I have his book here. The Morphology of the
We have
Folktale.
a book. We are surrounded by books.
It's. I'm sorry. The Morphology of the Folktales by Vladimir Propp, but Propp and Thompson and others work on folktales. Stith Thompson actually he's an American, has a list of folklores. So the Arn Thompson Folklore Index is something that folklorists use, and they index all different kinds of folklore.
Okay.
Because
folklore back in the day wasn't always, it was passed down. It wasn't like always written down, correct?
Right. Yeah. What we frequently say is that it's by adults for adults, so that the transition into the children's literature doesn't really come until the late 17th or early 18th century.
Okay.
So prior to that, primarily stories for adults. That's why there are frequently some troubling elements.
Yes, in the Disney movies.
In the Disney movies that show a manifestation of the adult world. So yeah, I was really interested in that. Should we just start with the lyrics?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, the opening line is, "We gather here." And initially I'm wondering, okay, so that's the type of thing you say at a wedding. Mm-hmm. It's also the type of thing we say at a funeral.
Yes.
Right. So obviously this is a funeral.
Yeah.
but I did wonder how much she's dealing with the juxtaposition of wedding and funeral.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that.
Oh, okay. No, yep. I've never thought of this, but now thinking of lyrics further down, I see where you're going.
Yeah. So we've got a what could have been a marriage, but now is not. It's some kind of a funeral. It's some kind of a breakup, some kind of an ending. Mm-hmm. We line up, maybe around a casket, weeping in a sunlit room. So I like it because that's an oxymoron, right? Mm-hmm. So you're crying and it's sunlit.
Yes.
So, you think of sunlight as being happy and joyful, but it's not. Right?
Yeah.
They're sad. And she's on fire, or at least the narrator is on fire. Can't assume that this is Taylor Swift.
Yes.
You'll be made of ashes too. So she's addressing an interlocutor, someone she's talking with. Mm-hmm. Okay. Even on my worst day, did I deserve babe? Okay, someone who she's familiar with. All the hell you gave me. Oh, okay. So we're at a funeral. We got lots of funeral and hell imagery throughout the poem. 'Cause I loved you, I swear I loved you till my dying day.
I've literally never put together that she's like, all the hell you gave me, and she's saying, if I'm on fire.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Fire and hell and ashes.
Yeah.
A pretty sympathetic series of images.
Yeah.
So nicely done on her part. And then we go to the chorus.
Yeah.
So am I on base so far? Am I okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So we go to the chorus. I didn't have it in myself to go with grace. Okay, so this to me feels ironic because what remits our sins, what gets us out of hell, well, it's the grace of God. You read 2 Corinthians talks about grace, Romans talks about grace. There are 100 passages. Ephesians 2 talks about the grace of God. So this rescuing power. But she doesn't have it because she's from hell.
Yeah. She's been sent to hell.
That's right. And then I like the next line because she describes a hero flying around. So I have to admit, my first thought was Superman.
Me too, yeah.
Okay. So, is this person or entity she's describing, was it a Superman? And then she says, saving face. And I like the word saving because in the previous line...
More grace.
More grace, right? Yeah. So grace saves, right? But this is a kind of false saving because it's not going to rescue her, right? So we have lots of irony. He's not super. He's not saving. And if I'm dead to you, why are you at the wake? So there's been a parting of ways to them. And her question is, okay, so somehow we broke up. And so why the heck are you at my funeral if you're no longer a part of my life? If you didn't offer me the grace that led to the marriage implied by the first line we gather here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cursing my name, wishing I stayed. Look at how my tears ricochet. Okay, so they're bouncing back on him or this other supposed entity.
So when I first saw the track title, My Tears Ricochet, I immediately went to Taylor's debut album that came out when she was 16 years old. It was one of the singles, I think it was the second single she ever came out with, is called Teardrops on My Guitar.
Okay.
And so you have to put yourself into teen girl mode here for this song.
Okay,
I think ready. You can do it.
I'm ready.
So this song is all about, he's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar. He doesn't see me as, his girlfriend. He sees me as a friend. And so I'm crying while I'm writing these songs. And now, as a 30-year-old woman, this song, her tears are ricocheting. And so I always wonder, I always go back to that teardrops on my guitar, and she obviously still goes to her guitar whenever she's struggling with, or anytime she's feeling any emotion, she goes to her guitar, I think. But especially in moments of sadness, she's going to her guitar. But now I feel like those teardrops aren't just on her guitar, they're ricocheting to other people.
Right.
Is what I see in my head. They're I'm upset, but so are, my tears are ricocheting onto you because you're cursing my name, you're wishing I stayed, you hurt yourself just as much as you hurt me.
Yeah, and ricocheting with some force and power, I would guess, because she's a billionaire,
right.
At least according to my understanding.
Yes.
And she has a whole group of fans.
Yes. Much more power now than she did before.
You actually reminded me, okay, so this is a side story,
yes.
But so one of my good friends, Yvonne Jocks, who taught at the same institution I worked at, who's also a romance writer, by the way. She's written more than 20 novels.
Fun.
I know. Check out Yvonne Jocks.
I hope to be here someday.
She's great. She suggested that I read Hunger Games when it came out. And I started reading it, and I have to admit I wasn't enjoying it all that much. And I went to Yvonne and I asked her, it's just okay, but it feels a little whiny, and it doesn't really feel like it's all that great. And she said, well, you need to tap into your inner 14-year-old girl.
Yes. It's very important.
It made the book better for me. And I've read all three of them. I've read the others, and I actually like them a great deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I must have an inner 14-year-old girl.
You do. We all do.
Okay.
There's a line from, I think it's from New Girl, where I don't even remember the context, but she's like, but we all have she's talking about women, and she's like, we all still have a 15-year-old girl inside of us. And I think that, there is of course, things feel differently when you're a teenager than they do when you're an adult, when you have, hindsight and context and, perspective. But yeah, I think it does make all of those. So like Hunger Games, your Harry Potters, your all of and these songs. Well, not these so much. She's an adult in these songs, but the earlier Taylor songs. Like I think tapping into that, it adds another layer of enjoyment.
Makes it feel a little better.
Yes.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay, so moving on. Let's see, verse 2. And I have to admit, I really like verse 2.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I think it's got lots of biblical
so
allusion.
Good. Yes.
Which is fun. So she starts off with, we gather stones. Okay, so why is she gathering stones? So my mind immediately goes to any number of biblical allusions, right?
Okay.
Or to a Bob Dylan song.
Okay, fair. What Bob Dylan song?
Well, okay, so in Ecclesiastes 3, the author says that there's a time to cast away stones and a time to bring stones together. Right? And Bob Dylan uses that song, that lyric in one of the songs.
Okay.
And so Gathering Stones is a kind of building lyric. It's a memorializing lyric when... in Joshua, the book of Joshua, when Joshua and the people of Israel cross over the Jordan River, they gather stones and they pile them together to forever memorialize that. It can demonstrate a promise of God. It can be an image of building a life, building a house. Unfortunately, it can also mean stoning.
Yes.
So are we gathering together to consecrate, to memorialize, to build, or are we gathering together to stone somebody? And I like it that she says, never knowing what they'll mean, and obviously in Joshua 4, when the people of Israel build those stones together, they don't know how they will memorialize through centuries. But the reader here, or the listener of the song, doesn't know what the stones are going to be for. And she points that out. She says, some to throw and some to make a diamond ring. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
So it's both.
It's a little of both, yeah. Yeah, again, there's a lot of irony here. So a juxtaposition of meaning. So, yeah, it could have been that they would have built a real marriage. It could have been that they would have consecrated a great relationship, but instead they wind up throwing stones and breaking apart. I didn't want to have to haunt you. But what a ghostly scene. You wear the same jewels that I gave you as you bury me.
So dramatic.
I know. And so, I wondered about this, Jules. I don't get a clear sense of the antagonist in this narrative poem as a person, And so I'm wondering, is this a record company? And I start doing the whole...
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
I didn't really mean stop.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, I know a lot of artists, and I should have said one of the things that I did read about Taylor Swift just a few months ago is she bought all of her old songs.
Yes.
Okay, so I wondered if there was some strife between her and maybe like a company, because that's very typical with recording artists.
So I was going to save this for the end.
Okay, good.
But you guessed it, so
really?
We'll get into
it.
So this song,
Bam.
Okay. is about the man who signed her originally at 16 or 15 or whatever.
Oh, really? Wow.
She made 6 albums with him.
Okay.
And that was what her original contract was for. And as is normal in the record industry, she owned... she writes her songs, so she owns the songwriting credits and all of that, but the record label owns the master recordings.
Oh, that's...
And she wants to own her own masters.
Okay.
And she went to this man, Scott Borchetta. We don't like him anymore.
No.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
And she said, let me buy my masters from you. Just let me buy them outright. And he said, no. you can earn them back one album at a time. So basically, you've you've made 6 records for us. So on your 7th record, you can own your first record, your first masters. On your 8th, you can own your second. Like he was going to make her earn them back, and she said no.
So I'm sorry, wait.
Yes.
So part of this bargain is she has to make another record for him, and then she gets one back.
So she needed to make 6 more records with him to own her masters.
Okay, let's gather some stones.
Yeah. So she said, I'm not going to do that. So she signed with a different label and told us in a letter, like, this is not how I wanted this to go. I wanted to stay there forever. I wanted to just be able to own my work that I've written about my own life. Mm-hmm. And they wouldn't let me buy them. And so I made the difficult decision to leave my past behind. And I'm not going to own those. And
dead to me.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So then it gets more dramatic.
Oh, okay.
Because he then goes, Scott Borchetta then goes and sells off all of the masters to someone else. Oh, wow. Specifically a man named Scooter Braun, who...
No man should have the name Scooter.
Agreed. And Scooter Braun was a talent manager. He managed Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande. He was like kind of heavily involved in. Do you know anything about Taylor and Kanye West's feud?
No. Oh, well, I'm sorry. You know what? Maybe I know more about Taylor than I thought I did. Yes. Was he the one who got up on the stage and said, someone else should have won this award?
Yes, Beyonce. Yeah.
Oh, Beyonce. Okay.
So he did that, and then they like feuded for a bit. Yeah, exactly. The single
Beyonce. Yeah. I mean, I'm not entirely
stuff. So then there was a feud for many years. Kanye claimed he made Taylor famous because of that. Long story. Mm-hmm. Scooter Braun was like kind of involved in taunting Taylor with Kanye and Justin Bieber and stuff. So she like hates Scooter Braun, and now all of a sudden Scooter Braun owns her life's work. Which is why she said, I'm going to re-record my first 6 albums.
Yeah.
And I'm going to own those. They're going to be called Taylor's versions. And I'm going to devalue all the original work by creating new, so Scooter Braun isn't going to make money off of me anymore.
Right.
But we all know this has a happy ending. She was finally able to buy them back. She's like poor now, I think, because she spent reportedly $360 million on owning her masters. Okay. But yes, I'm so impressed that you got that from this. But yeah.
It's in my notes.
Oh my gosh.
No, I mean, I said lacks personal address. We don't know the antagonist. Is it a character?
Yeah. So it's this song, I think, is just about that fight, about her wanting to stay with this original record label for the rest of her career, but she wanted it in a way that felt fair to her, and he wouldn't give it to her.
Interesting. Okay, well, we're done here. Thank you for listening. Watch for number 2. Wait, I got more stuff.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of myself.
I am too.
Yeah, because
I'm sorry I yelled stop at you.
Yeah, no, I literally wrote that it felt like it lacked that personal address. And so I wondered about the nature of the antagonist. But she clearly doesn't like the situation because she's gathering those stones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. I actually wrote. It felt a little like there's a short story by a French author named Gautier, and the story is La Mort Amoureuse. Okay. So it's
Amoureuse. I know Mort.
Yeah. So the death. So it's a story about a woman who falls in love with a priest who takes orders, and she ultimately turns out to be a vampire, sucking at him in order to sustain her life. And Romuald is his name, and her name is Clermont. Okay. Yeah, but so I don't know. I was wondering if that had any folklore crossover.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I try to make those connections like Vladimir Propp and Stith Thompson and people like that who put those things together. I also have Oh, if you've never seen, okay, I've got another book to tout. Marina Wariner is wonderful when she writes about fairy tales, and I'm heavily influenced by Marina Wariner. She's pretty great. This is From Beast to the Blonde on fairy tales and their teller. And,
Love that title.
Yeah, well, it's a lot about relationships between men and women. But the great Bible of folklore is The Uses of Enchantment by Bruno Bettelheim, The Meaning and Importance of Fairy Tales. And this is a first edition in the original cover.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Fancy. From when? From like how long is that?
Oh, gosh, I don't remember when it was published. You're going to make me look it up.
Yeah.
Oh, 1975.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And also all these, just to let everyone know, everything that you're mentioning.
First edition.
Nice. All of the books you're mentioning, all of the references, I will, if I can find them, I will link them in the notes of the show or wherever it makes sense to link them, so everybody can read along or learn new things about folklore.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's great. And she may not know about the White Lady folklore or about La Mort Amoureuse, but I think that it's interesting because even if the author doesn't distinctly know the folk tale, nevertheless, because they exist in culture and they surround us, you frequently feel them and it impels your writing.
Right.
So I did like this idea that she's dead but not dead yet. She's buried but not buried yet, and that she's been cursed. She's in hell, but she's still coming back in almost a ghostly form, which is the bridge after the second chorus,
yes.
right? She says, and I can go anywhere I want, just not home. And you can aim for my heart, go for blood, but you would still miss me in your bones. Which is great. It made me think that again is what made me think of Gautier's work, because she feels like a vampire going for blood. But like a ghost, going anywhere she wants, haunting him even in his grave, in his bones. And I still talk to you when I'm screaming at the sky. So screaming is very typical of White Lady folklore. The White Lady frequently yells because she's angry about something. Matter of fact, there's a whole series, again, in the Thompson Index, about someone who lost something, a lady who lost something. So you may know the Lady of the Golden Arm. There's an Italian story about a woman who lost her leg, and people took the leg or took the artificial limb, and they keep it for its intrinsic value, and she haunts them at night and screams at them.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm liking that this is a recording executive who has that valuable item.
Yeah, he stole her leg.
Yeah, so...
But it's her lullabies.
Yeah, I know, right? It's pretty great. Right? I still talk to you. My stolen lullabies.
Yeah, when you can't sleep at night, you hear my stolen lullabies.
Oh, see, I had a little trouble with that line.
Well, there you go.
Now you're making sense.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I underlined it, and I said typical of White Lady lore, but what are the lullabies? There's often a child involved in White Lady lore, too. So,
her child is her music.
Her music. That's great.
So good.
Okay, the next section, I didn't have it myself to go with Grace, back to Grace. And so the battleships will sink beneath the waves. And I thought this was a clumsy line. Forgive me, Taylor fans.
You're allowed.
But so I've been looking at this poem for 2 days, and the whole first day I thought, man, I hate that line. Well, it just seemed like the battleship is this giant metallic thing, and it just felt clumsy. But then I began to take the word apart, and I thought, well, battleship, relationship.
Okay,
so I wondered if she's thinking about the word relationship and substitutes battle for battleship.
Interesting.
And the relationship she had with, in my first thinking, the person sank beneath the waves. And so maybe it does work.
Okay.
Like over the last day, I've been persuaded.
really convince yourself.
I've been chewing on it for a while. But I'm kind of persuaded that the line works now.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because it could have been the relationship, and now it's just turned into a fight.
just turned into a battleship.
Yeah.
Right, not a relationship.
Obsessed.
And so I like that. And so, Taylor, if you're listening, if that's what you meant, you are just brilliant. And if it's not what you meant, who cares? It still kind of works as a poem, so you're okay. So she has to be killed. She has to be cursed. She is, you're tossing a blame, drunk on this pain. See, now you're changing my understanding for telling me it's like a recording executive. Drunk on the pain. So he's having a great time knowing that she's upset about his possession of her discography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this line, cursing my name, wishing I stayed, you turned into your worst fears. That makes me think, this is digging too deep, but what that makes me think is that when they first started working together, he was very much like, I'm going to always do right by my artists. Like, I want everything to be fair. I want contracts to make sense. I'm always going to value the artist's work over everything, blah, blah, blah. But now it feels like, to me, you turned into your worst fears. Like, he didn't want to be that, like, evil recording executive that we know. But then, like, here he is doing this to her.
It's the same thing. And, I've heard of artists re-recording their work so that previous owners can't use it, or it becomes secondary.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that happened in the 60s, and it apparently happens again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We're at the end of the song.
Yeah, you're tossing out blame, drunk on this pain, crossing out the good years. Yeah, so you're like...
Yeah, so there they went.
Yeah. We're done. We're never looking back. Mm-hmm. Wishing I stayed, and now look at how my tears ricochet onto you.
Mm-hmm. A little vindictive, huh?
Very vindictive.
Very vindictive.
Yeah, okay, so what are your... So... That blew my mind that it shouldn't have, I know, because you're, like, good at this, but it blew my mind that you did figure that out. Does learning what it's actually about, does that make you like it more or less? Does it change your opinion, I guess I should say?
Okay, so... I'm going to use that old cliche. That's a good question, Angela. Well, it's a good question because... when you think about literature, it should stand on its own. I mean, there's this world of literary critics called new critics that say, well, you should read the work on its own. You shouldn't worry about the author's biography. Mm-hmm. We don't know that things that happen in the author's life directly touches what the author wrote. Knowing that, I think it's an assumption that that's what this is about. It changes the way I understand the poem a little bit, but no, I still think that it stands on its own as an interesting poem. My kind of summative remark was that this was a poem about the vindictiveness, a kind of vengeance, which is why it reminded me of the La Morte Amoureuse, because she is angry that he chose God over her, right? And so in this case, maybe the recording executive chose money over her. Mm-hmm. But it's also about the boundaries between life and death, which is a timeless thematic investigation of what does it mean to live and die, and how do we live and how do we die, and does our need for vengeance carry on past death? It's also it's also a tale of obsession, and for me, obsession is one of the most typical of the themes that you'll find in folk tales and folklore. Okay. Right? Why is Rapunzel in a tower? Mm-hmm. Right? Because the witch has to keep her. She wants, she's obsessed with her. Yeah. Right? Why is Cinderella relegated to the cinders. She literally sleeps in an empty hearth with no fire. Why does her prince keep her shoe and is obsessed with finding her?
Okay,
right?
okay.
I know it's wacky, right? And the whole foot in a shoe thing is also a very sexual image. That if there are any kids listening, that's not what these stories are about.
Don't ruin Cinderella.
Yeah. Well, and it also feels like Midas, who obsesses over gold and who loses the most precious thing in the world to him, his daughter, because he gets the golden touch, ultimately turns his own daughter into gold. So that obsession causes the death of that is most precious to him.
So, on that note, I just want to say this. We'll get to this song eventually, but the second pandemic album, which Taylor calls Folklore and Evermore, is the second one. She calls them sister albums because they both came out in 2020. On Evermore, there's a song called Champagne Problems, and one of the lines is "You're Midas." So it's about her, like the narrator turning down an engagement, like a proposal, saying no to a proposal.
Okay.
And she says, "Your Midas touch on the Chevy door," like you. Obviously there's more context around that, but you saying that Midas was obsessed with gold so much that he turned everything he loved into gold, and including his daughter, then this other song that I think also has folklore elements, her talking about your Midas touch, like you were too obsessed and it ruined this. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. Obsession has its own ricochet.
Oh.
I know. There you go.
Bringing it all together. Yes. Okay. So I want you to listen to it, and also I want you to see the Eras Tour performance of it.
Oh, yeah. Cool, of course.
It's very important.
Okay.
So also, along with these, with everything getting shut down in 2020, she put out Folklore, Evermore, and then Midnights. There were no tours for them. So the Eras Tour came about because of that. She had so many albums to cover on her next tour.
Right.
And so the Eras Tour was the first time we had seen her perform these live. And so it's very good.
Okay. She didn't make any COVID performances, like small studio performances. Okay.
Well, that's a lie. There is a movie called Folklore: The Long Pond Sessions, where it's just her and her two collaborators in a studio, and they just played the album front to back and talked about it a little bit.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I followed some of my favorite recording artists, online, and they had those little small sessions. Matter of fact, outdoors often.
Yeah, so fun. I love those. I love an acoustic set like that. Okay, let's listen to the song first, and then we'll talk about your overall grades and all of that.
Okay, I have not heard the song, so I'm anxious to hear.
Okay. Do you want to just watch the performance, or do you want to hear the album version and then the performance?
It's your preference.
I don't know. Okay, let's listen. We'll watch the lyric video, and then we'll watch the performance. So, we won't be able to play all of this on the podcast, so I'll cut out probably most of this, but we'll get your reaction at the end. Okay. Do you have thoughts about that?
Okay, so it was fun to hear her sing it.
Yeah.
I liked the way she stressed the jewels that I gave you. I said before that obsession is part of what the song is about, and certainly a frequent theme in folk tales. So the object and possessing the object are obviously connected. And the jewels she seemed to hit very hard.
Yeah.
I really liked the "I'm screaming at the sky." Again, it's like that banshee cry. The harbinger of death. That's in Irish folklore. That's what a banshee is. An old lady who cries out, and she does seem to cry out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then when she talks about her stolen lullabies, she kind of floats off into this musical turn, like, "Oh, I got much more than that, buddy." I thought that was fun. So fun. I'm still not sold on the battleship. Okay. But I'm trying to make it work.
It's okay. You don't have to like every single word.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's watch the Eras Tour performance. So the way that this doesn't really matter for the context, but she went through era by era so they weren't like mixed up. So she did all her songs from Lover and then went into a different album, Fearless, and then went into a different album. So this is the folklore section, but I've got it stopped right where you can watch just this song.
It's a white lady.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the performance?
Well, when she appears in white.
Yeah.
I'm back to my whole white lady interpretation. The woman in white folklore is for me very haunting. And what's interesting about it too is in so many of the stories, the woman dies, or she becomes a wraith or a vampire, or but she's always lost something. Like she's lost her leg, she's lost her golden arm, she's lost her child. Sometimes it's stolen by a husband or a lover. Sometimes it's killed by a husband or a lover, and she haunts the lover because she's in search of the lost child. And so, I guess the stolen lullabies.
Yeah,
I thought in the context of the woman in white folk tales that she was looking for a child, a baby. She's looking for her songs, literal lullabies. But it works so well with the white lady folklore element. I wonder if she knows about it.
I mean, you're convincing me that she does, because this all just kind of goes. It all kind of works. But
I like the performance too, because she starts, bent over, and she rises up out of a grave, out of a would-be grave.
It's very like funereal with them walking behind her,
surrounded by shadows.
So good.
It is fun. Yeah, it's fun to speculate on what she might know, in writing these songs.
Yeah. Okay, let's give it some grades.
Okay.
So we have a grading rubric that has some criteria. So it's 5 different criteria: lyrical strength, narrative and structure, production and atmosphere, lore and literary references, and emotional impact. So for lyrical strength, I know you don't like battleships, but otherwise...
No, I didn't. But otherwise, I thought it was very good. I liked the hell imagery, the fire imagery early. I liked the haunting imagery later. So I'm going to say a 94.
Okay. I honestly think, I love this song, but I think you've made me like it even more.
Okay.
So.
I was going to ask you what you love about her.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a whole discussion.
Maybe so.
But, we've grown up together, her and I. And the things she writes about, I obviously do not have a situation in my life that relates to losing millions of dollars worth of original recordings or my original life's work. But somehow this song still just, it feels, I mean, like you're saying, it's any kind of loss, and being mad at somebody over a loss. And so the songs that she writes are so specific, but they're also somehow so universal.
Right.
And it's just amazing to me.
It's about that cycle of possession and obsession. It's very cool.
Yeah. So, but, I mean, there's a lot of things. I'll get into that over time.
Okay.
Okay, narrative and structure.
I mean, I'm very pleased that I noticed the lack of personal address.
Yeah, me too.
And so it must be fairly strong and intentional in the work. So I'm gonna push that up to a solid 95, a mid-range A.
All right.
Yeah.
Production and atmosphere.
Now, we're talking about the song or what I saw? I had no idea I was going to like the Eras Tour version.
Yeah, it really makes it. I think we can talk about, we can grade it on the performance.
You saw the Eras Tour?
Yes, twice.
Well, of course.
Obviously. So did your daughter and your granddaughter.
It's true. I know. I'm surrounded by Swifties.
You are.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to go with a solid 95 there. Okay. I thought it was really good.
Okay. Lore and literary references.
Okay, so yeah, I did feel the screaming banshee, and I did feel the white lady searching for her stolen lullaby, her lost child. The lost child is such an archetype in these stories. So I'm going to say she hit this one dead on.
What?
96.
Okay, I thought you were going to give her 100. And emotional impact. Do you feel it? When you put your inner teen girl on.
When I put my 15-year-old girl on, yeah, I think so. I think maybe not as much as you, maybe a 91.
Okay.
Yeah, but still good.
Okay, so
And
that
our average is?
gives us, wrong one, 94.
Wow, okay, solid A.
That's a good grade.
Taylor, good job.
She's a genius.
All right.
So, I think, do you have any final thoughts on it? I think that's kind of it.
No, thanks for putting up with my throwing you morphology of the folk tale, or
Of
talking
course.
about the Arn Thompson index and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll link all those. So I'll have to Google them for that. So then I'll learn more.
I've actually had a third collaborator, so Arn Thompson, maybe Johnson, I can't remember, but
Okay.
you'll find that.
I'll find it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have we have a new Instagram account and a new TikTok account that you can follow to stay up on all the new episodes.
Cool.
You can also subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all of those places that you get your podcasts, and also on YouTube. So wherever you are, those are all at Swiftie and Scholar Pod. I will link that in the show notes. And if you want to follow me anywhere, I'm at Angela Wyatt on Instagram. And you can find Uncle Jerry at his house because he does not participate in social media.
Not so much. Yeah.
Okay, so we will be back with another song next week. Thank you so much. This was very fun.
Thank you, Angela.
Okay, see you. Bye.